Hearty greetings to you, IELTS test takers and enthusiasts alike, and welcome to our channel. We are tearing up the old playbook about the IELTS speaking test, part 1, part 2, and part 3, and we are bringing to you the most insightful tips that will help you ace the test. In today's editorial, our first point of call is to demonstrate and provide the necessary tips and tricks you, the candidate, need to sustain an intellectual discussion with the examiner. Since the test is not merely a question and answer session, the intention is to use a number of tools at the student's disposal to achieve fluency, depth, and coherence. These include fluency hacks like starters. Starters are those small words that one might use at the beginning of sentences to enhance fluency and reorganize their thoughts as they engage in a conversation with their interlocutor. This includes words like well, yeah, to be honest, as a matter of fact, to be candid, I guess, I suppose, I presume. You name them. Unlike other English language proficiency tests, the IELTS speaking test allows and even encourages the use of starters. What examiners are looking for is somebody being able to hold their own in a discussion or a conversation in a number of different settings. If the examiner seeks to know whether the candidate has a job or not, they may respond by saying, well, I suppose you want me to tell you about my job. I could, answer that in a couple of different ways. And by that, I mean, on the one hand, I'm rounding off my university studies, but I'm also a part-time teacher in the afternoons. It's worth noting that the student talked for about 20 seconds before answering the question. In our second example, the examiner asked the candidate how they came to the exam center on that day. The easy choice would have been by bus, by a car, or by taxi. In one scenario, candidates might end up in a strange environment and would need to find their way around by talking to random people. It might have to do with buying tickets, or taking the bus, or sitting through entrance exams. Candidates are therefore tested on their ability to sound natural, just as native speakers would do. As a matter of fact, they should embrace the conversational style native speakers use on a daily basis. Let's take a few examples, or a few practical examples, to drive home the importance of starters. If the examiner seeks to know whether the candidate has a job or not, they may respond by saying, well, I suppose you want me to tell you about my job. I could, answer that in a couple of different ways. And by that, I mean, on the one hand, I'm rounding off my university studies, but I'm also a part-time teacher in the afternoons. It's worth noting that the student talked for about 20 seconds before answering the question. On the flip side, part 2 and part 3 questions are much more structured and formal. For the part 2 and part 3 questions, candidates have barely 2 minutes to piece together their ideas before answering the questions. Part 3 questions warrant in-depth analysis of topical issues. This is where the test takers have to project their rhetorical skills, their oral skills. Judging from what we mentioned earlier, it will be advisable for the candidate to say, well, I often travel by bus, but because I was in a terrible hurry this morning, I decided to come here by taxi. So there's fluency and depth. Not only has the student not answered the question directly, they have switched tenses. Strategies like this will score you a solid 8 or 9 band in the IELTS speaking test part 1. So there are more appealing ideas the candidate could use to tell the examiner how they found themselves to the exam center. For instance, they could say their father just had his annual leave and he has been spending an inordinate amount of time at home recently. So he was gracious enough to drop them off at the exam center. Or that the rickety bicycle their friend sent them for their birthday could not make it to the exam center. So they drove themselves there with their sister's car. This is the moment when the candidate's preparedness for the test comes into focus. In preparation for the test, the candidate would have been looking forward to potential questions about their city's transport. These are some of the tips the candidate would have armed themselves with about the topic. 1. About how the candidate goes to school. They could say they prefer to walk to the classroom. In this way, they can interact and chat with classmates and strangers alike. 2. When talking about the quality of the transport network in their city, the candidate can describe it as state-of-the-art. The subway system is brand new. The bus system used to be noisy and dirty, and there were a lot of delays. However, everything was upgraded. Nowadays, you don't need to wait long at the bus stop. Information at the bus stations is bilingual. So foreign tourists and other English speakers would have no difficulty using the system. As to whether or not transport is expensive in the candidate's city, they could say traveling by air and by car are quite expensive, but other modes of transportation like buses, the subway, and intercity trains are not. Buses cost as low as 1 renminbi and the subway 5. It has taken our city a lot of hard work to make its transport system accessible, reliable, punctual, and modern. When it comes to the topic of traffic jams, the candidate should highlight the fact that they are a thing of the past. Because first, the road network is in optimum condition, and a number of measures have been taken by the government to limit the number of cars on the streets. Once in a while, when there's a traffic accident, traffic jams do occur, but the situation lasts only for a short time. The candidate should anticipate questions from the examiner on all aspects of traffic in their city and their own status as a commuter. Useful vocabulary talking about modes of transport include bus, train, subway, metro, tram, light rail, commuter rail, monorail, ferry, coach, cable car. When it comes to funicular, we can talk about car, automobile, motorcycle, scooter, bicycle, truck, lorry, van, freight. Vocabulary about infrastructure include highway, motorway, expressway, junction, arterial road, intersection, roundabout, bridge, tunnel, overpass, lane. When it comes to the rail system, we have words like railway, railroad, track, line, platform, sleeper. When talking about stations, we have words like bus stop, bus station, metro, metro station, terminus, terminal, depot, park, ride. Talking about water transportation, we have words like port, harbor, dock, pier, canal, waterway. When talking about operations and services, The candidate should pay attention to the following words: schedule, timetable, route, line, network, service frequency, headway, peak hours, off-peak, express service, local service, transfer, connection, real-time performance, capacity. When talking about people, passenger, commuter, traveler, rider, driver, operator, conductor, pilot, captain, pedestrian, transport planner. And about ticket sales and fares, you have words like ticket, pass, season ticket, smart card, contactless payment, fare zone, concession fare, peak fare, validator, ticket machine. And talking about verbs and actions related to traffic, we have board, alight, embark, disembark, depart, arrive, transfer, connect, commute, travel, ride, park, load, unload. Adjectives about transportation include efficient, reliable, punctual, frequent, accessible, integrated, sustainable, eco-friendly, congested, delayed, overcrowded, modern, automated, electric. Problems and issues with traffic: delay, cancellation, gridlock, disruption, breakdown, congested, traffic jam, overcrowding, accident, maintenance, fare evasion. When talking about modern concepts of transport, we have words like sustainable transport, active travel, mobility as a service, smart transport, autonomous vehicle, electric vehicle, EV, bike sharing, car sharing, ride hailing, low emission zone, congestion charging. Dear students and viewers, we are leaving no stone unturned to make sure that you ace the IELTS speaking test like a pro. All that is left is for you to subscribe and make sure you don't miss the next video.